Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manabhistam Shapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Karamaya Dadati Sapadantikam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. I was here for Bhaji Narayan's class on Sunday, and he was cautioning all the parents that don't let your children make too much noise and shut off the cell phones. So, there's a child. So, my thought was that I'm speaking to glorify Lord Nrsimha. This is our job. We want to please Lord Nrsimha Dev. But we know Lord Nrsimha, like Krishna and all the Vishnu Tattvas, they like to hear their devotees glorified. Okay, please, with the child. So, I was thinking of speaking mostly about Prahlad Maharaj. That's the principle. Krishna is Bhaktavatsa. I mean, he's very much inclined with the devotee. Could you please take the child out of the room? He's happy when he sees this Bhaktavatsa. Means he's happy when he sees the devotee. Just like Krishna. He wanted to give credit to Arjuna to win the battle. He wanted to give credit to Bhima when he was fighting Jarasandha. He didn't want the credit. He's more happy when he sees his devotee credited. So this is important for us also because we have Srila Prabhupada. He's on a pure devotee, same level as Prahlad Maharaj. Pure devotee means pure. No hint of desire. Nirapeksha it's called. No hint of desire for sense gratification. So Prabhupada told us also we should keep the Acharya in the center. So we're doing that, all our temples. We're only reading from Prabhupada's books. We have Prabhupada's Murti here. We have Prabhupada's instructions, how to take care of the deities. And this was the world headquarters. Well, I came through here in 1971 after I took sannyas. Prabhupada had sent me to Japan. So we can speak something about Prahlad Maharaj's glories. But we can speak something about Prahlad. So I lost my train of thought. Quite frankly, I was distracted by the screaming child. So you have to bear with me while I get my thoughts back. Yeah, the thought was that I wanted to glorify Prahlad Maharaj. I think that's the best way to please Lord Nrsimha Dev. Of course, we know the history of Lord Nrsimha Dev. He was you can say, came on the behalf of Lord Brahma, actually. Because Hiranyakashipu was a demon. We know the history. He was Jai and Vijay. And then they came to the material world for 3 births time as demons. So Prahlad Maharaj, no, I wanted to speak about Lord Nrsimha Dev. So he was, Brahma had given benediction to Hiranyakashipu. He came to came to Brahma and he said, please grant me a wish. Well, first he did a very severe austerity. Hiranyakashipu did very severe austerities that no one has ever done before and no one can do in the future. Such severe austerities that the demigods became disturbed and the whole universe was choking. So the austerity then, Brahma came on the behalf of the demigods to give him what he wanted. Why is he causing such a disruption with his austerity? So he said, yes, I want to be immortal. I don't want to die. So Brahma said, I can't give you that because I also have to die. Then Hiranyakashipu was very clever. He said, okay, grant me the boon that I won't die in the day or the night. grant me the boon, and Brahma said yes, grant me the boon that I won't die by any weapon. Okay. Grant me the boon that I won't die by any man or animal. Okay. So all these conditions are there. But still, the Lord is smarter than us. So he arranged the time when it's not day and not night. So we're waiting now for the twilight. When it's not in the house or out of the house, this was on the vestibule that he was killed. And so on, like all these conditions were made. So that the Lord would be pleased. And that Brahma wouldn't break his word. So the Lord gave that. And then there was a pillar, and we know that Lord Nrsimha was in the pillar, and he was harassing his child, Prahlad. And he was challenging him. Where is your Krishna? Where is your God? And finally he turned, is he in his pillar? Because he had made the house, and he knew it was made with bricks, and so there was it was solid bricks, right? He made the house. Yes, and Prahlad said, yes, the Lord is everywhere. So with his sword he struck the pillar, and then what happened? Lord Nrsimha came out, ferocious mood, and he took him on his lap, and he quickly killed him. But why did the Lord come at all? Because his devotee was being harassed. This is mentioned in the 4th chapter of the Gita. The Lord comes to protect the devotee and to annihilate the miscreants. So that's the reason. So I was going to read a little bit about, here it is, Prahlad. What was some of his qualities? How he was such a pure devotee that the Lord couldn't tolerate his being insulted. Okay. Prahlad Maharaj, the saintly son of Hiranyakashipu, chapter 5, canto 7, chapter 5. Prahlad Maharaj did not carry out the order of his teachers, for he was always engaged in worshipping Lord Vishnu. As described in this chapter, Hiranyakashipu tried to kill Prahlad Maharaj, even by having a snake bite him and by putting him under the feet of elephants, yet he was unsuccessful. Hiranyakashipu's spiritual master, Sukracharya, had 2 sons named Sanda and Amarka, to whom Prahlad Maharaj was entrusted for education. Although the teachers tried to educate the boy, Prahlad, in politics, economics, and other material activities, he did not care for their instructions. Instead, he continued to be a pure devotee. Prahlad Maharaj never liked the idea of discriminating between one's friends and enemies. Because he was spiritually inclined, he was equal towards everyone. So this is Brahminical mood. The Kshatriyas have to make a distinction. But the Brahmins, they're equal to everyone. So he was the ideal Brahmin. Once upon a time, Hiranyakashipu inquired from his son what the best thing was that he had learned from his teachers. Prahlad Maharaj replied that a man engrossed in the material consciousness of duality, thinking, this is mine and that belongs to my enemy, should give up his household life and go to the forest to worship the Supreme Lord. But this is how Prahlad was teaching. Of course, it didn't go over well because he was living with the demons. Hiranyakashipu and all the demons, including the teachers and the ministers, they were all very loyal to Hiranyakashipu, who was the big demon, right? So they didn't like to hear Prahlad talking about Vishnu and glorifying. When Hiranyakashipu heard from his son about devotional service, he decided that the small boy had been polluted by some friend in school, and thus he advised the teachers to take care of the boy so that he would not become a Krishna-conscious devotee. However, when the teachers inquired from Prahlad Maharaj why he was going against their teachings, Prahlad Maharaj taught the teachers that the mentality of ownership is false, and that he was therefore trying to become an unalloyed devotee of Lord Vishnu. The teachers became very angry at this answer and chastised and threatened him with many fearful conditions. They taught him, in the best of their ability, and then they brought him again before his father. But the teaching didn't work. Hiranyakashipu affectionately took his son Prahlad on his lap and then inquired from him what was the best thing that he had learned from his teachers. As usual, Prahlad Maharaj began praising the 9 processes of devotional service. So there's a famous verse there. Shravanam Kirtana Vishnu Smarapada Sevanam. The boy spoke these, that this is the most important thing, to engage in the 9 processes of devotional service. Any one of them is powerful enough to liberate us from this ocean of birth and death. But of course we know in this age, Lord Chaitanya has given the kirtan as the strongest angam. Angam means limb. So these 9 limbs of devotion, and kirtan is the strongest. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya emphasized the kirtan. And by example, every night, in the last 12 years when he was on the planet, he was in Jagannath Puri. So every night he would assemble the devotees, and they would have kirtan for 4 hours every night. Dancing and jumping and tears from the eyes and hair standing on end, rolling on the ground. We do a half-hour kirtan, we think, wow, that was long kirtan. But Lord Chaitanya was really into the kirtan. And Prabhupada was too. I could tell a personal story about that. We were in Vrindavan with Srila Prabhupada in 1976. And Prabhupada was a little ill at the time, and he didn't take part in the program, but every night we had to come. At 6:30 there was arti, then 7 o'clock class, and one of us had to give class, one of the sannyasis. So I had to give class in front of Srila Prabhupada. It was a little scary. And later he said, anyway, his class was short. So Prabhupada wanted the short class, then a second kirtan. And after the second kirtan, at one time, he came back, and I was sitting with him, and Shruti Kirti was there. The 3 of us. Prabhupada was sitting on his bed, we were sitting on the ground. And then Prabhupada spoke from his heart. It just came out of him. He wasn't giving a microphone or class. He said, this is Lord Chaitanya's special mercy, this kirtan. Therefore, we should always be doing kirtan. And if we don't get a taste for the kirtan, simply sex life. We're looking for some taste, isn't it? And sex life proceeds to be very pleasant. There's some pleasure there, no doubt. But it's not the all in all. There's a higher pleasure, because this is a duality. It depends on conditions. We have to have the right mate and so on. But the kirtan, of course there's some conditions too. More the better. We have to bring people together. But Prabhupada was doing that. He was gathering souls to take part in the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya. So we should follow in his footsteps and try to bring as many people as we can to take part in the kirtan. Of course, whenever Prabhupada did kirtan, he also spoke something. Because people will ask, when I first came, I was a student at the University of Buffalo, and I came in, and then they had kirtan the evening, right? And after the kirtan, I was impressed by it. I thought, wow. And I asked the devotee, what was that we just did? What do you call that? He said, kirtan. I said, wow. So from the beginning, I liked the kirtan, I have to admit. 2 things I liked. Kirtan and? You got it. Prasadam was so good. I was living alone, eating peanut butter sandwiches. And so when I came to the town, I said, wow, we have this wonderful chanting and dancing, and we get to eat all of this too. It was like, it was really blissful for me. And so I decided to stay. And by Krishna's mercy, Prabhupada's mercy, I'm still here. That was in 1968. To the Prabhupada. So how many years is that? 1968? Who's good at math? 56. Thank you. I didn't think I'd live that long. But that's because, it's Prabhupada, I was I was a woman hunter. I was smoking cigarettes, a pack a day. I was drinking, not too much drinking, but I did drink to be social, And I didn't have any belief in God. I thought God was maybe some energy or something, and I didn't pay much attention. But by Prabhupada's mercy, now I see. Krishna is God, isn't it? And He is the Supreme Person, and He's very kind to His devotee, Bhaktavatsal. That's why we're going to be talking more about Prahlad. Because if Prahlad is pleased, then Krishna, Lord Nrsimha will be pleased. Similarly, if Prabhupada is pleased, then Lord Krishna will be pleased. So we can please Prabhupada very easily. How do we do that? Yes, cooperate together, push on this movement, tell others about it. It's not very difficult. Speak to others, invite them to come. So we can give our money, like we just heard an announcement. People are being appreciated for giving money. Any organization needs money. And words, we can tell people. And then what else is there? Labor. You're coming and cutting vegetables and so. That's also welcome. All these things. And then ultimately, the fourth thing is Atmani Vedana. Means you give your life. You're coming to the end. Why not? Let your husbands take sannyas. The women have to give permission, right? But why not? This is the system. Then they can dedicate. And then before that even is Vanaprastha. What does Vanaprastha mean? You work cooperatively, husband and wife, for preaching, just like Savas is doing here. But no more sex life. That's austerity. But austerity is required. We all have to practice austerity. Rishabdev says, the whole purpose of human life is austerity, to qualify us to enter the spiritual world. But this is a joyful process, but still, you have to follow some rules and regulations. No illicit sex. Sex life only for getting children. That's why we say, in Vanaprastha there's no more desire to have children, so no more sex life. But that's difficult. The habit is there, right? I've never been a grihastha, so I don't know, but I can easily see that it must be difficult. You're living with a person and you're used to being intimate with them. So now we say, no, you don't want any more children? Then stop. So austerity. Austerity is there. But it's not so difficult. Like no intoxication. We know intoxication is poison, so it's not so difficult to give it up. Why is it difficult? It says on a package that is poison. Then illicit sex, intoxication, gambling. Well, why do we want to gamble? We have a sure thing. We have a sure thing. If Krishna promises, as you surrender unto Him, He's going to reciprocate. Sure as what? Sure as death. Death is sure, right? As sure as death. We don't like to think about it, but everybody has to die. Actually, when Yudhisthira, you know the story? They were performing austerity of some kind in the forest, and the Yamaraj came, but he asked them, he said, I'm going to ask you some questions. If you pass them, then you can live. Otherwise, I'm going to kill you. So all the 3 Pandavas were killed, or 4, except for Yudhisthira. So Yudhisthira, the question was, what is the most amazing thing in the world? What is the most amazing thing? And so Yudhisthira had the answer. The most amazing thing is, everybody has to die, but nobody thinks they're going to die. Somehow, we think we're okay. Prabhupada gives the example. A man is on the deathbed. He's being fed intravenously. Somebody's cleaning stool and urine. You ask him, how are you? I'm okay. This is the tendency. We think we're okay. Once there was a theologian wrote a book like that, Mexican theologian. The name of the book was I'm Okay, You're Okay. So on the morning walk, someone mentioned that to Prabhupada, right here, Venice Beach. And Prabhupada said, stopped with his cane and said, no, I'm okay, you're not okay. They're not okay because they're not surrendered to Krishna. This is the process. We read Bhagavad Gita, like in the 12th chapter. Krishna says very clearly, one who's devoted to me, he can easily cross beyond this ocean of birth and death. He uses the pronoun me for like 5 times in that verse, in the 2 verses. So it's easy if we simply agree to become devotees of Krishna. And he's not a cruel master. He's Bhaktavatsal. He's always inclined to his devotee. So we'll see. I'm experiencing myself. As I get older, it becomes easier and more joyful. Most people my age, right, I'm 83 this year, they think now life is dwindling, it's coming down, right? My family's gone. There's grandchildren that are there, but it's not the same. And I'm getting older. I can't eat and get so much pleasure from food anymore. I'm not attractive to any woman because I'm so old and wrinkled. And so what do I have? But in my case, I feel like I'm getting closer to Krishna, so I feel more happy than I did 10 years ago. That's a fact. I feel more happy. I'm not making this up. Because wherever I go, I get a chance to chant, people give class, people appreciate. I don't even have to work. People give me money. Somebody just gave me money now when I was sitting here. So it's a very joyful life. And then if you make somebody, help them to become better devotees, then they appreciate it so much. So I feel very much appreciated wherever I go. I preach mostly in Europe and Eastern Europe especially. I spend a lot of time in Ukraine and Belarus. Unfortunately, I can't go to Belarus now because the war is going on. But I go to Ukraine. I'm going to be there at the end of this month. There's a big festival in Ukraine. And the preaching is better since the war. Because there's no atheists on the battlefield, right? So the people are, because we always preach, material world is a place of misery. So they think, oh, what is that? Maybe you have a bad experience, you should see a psychiatrist. But we're happy. Most people think I'm happy. I'm okay. I'm okay. Everybody thinks I'm okay. But it's not true. We're in an awkward position, certified by Krishna, dukkhalayam ashashvatam, temporary and full of trouble. So we shouldn't become complacent. We should take this opportunity, this human form of life is availing us, and become serious. Let me just speak some more in glorification of Prahlad Maharaj. So he told him, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. And then Prahlad also said that they suffer repeated birth and death in the material world and continually simply chewing the chewed. There's a nice verse there that Prahlad spoke. Who knows that? Charitam, charitanitam. We need good scholars. I'm not so good. Anyway, there's a verse there where Prahlad talks about the material pleasures being chewing the chewed. We see it in this country, right? The young people have everything, then they become bored. And so they try to get pleasure in another way, kinky way or something. They're not happy with just ordinary sex life. They want it upside down, backwards, and this. This is because you can't find satisfaction in this world. What's the most famous song? The Rolling Stones sang. Wherever they went, they were asked, please sing this song. Mick Jagger, you heard of him, right? Rolling Stones. You know what the song was? I can't get no satisfaction, but I try and I try and I try. So why do people like that song so much? Because they can't get any satisfaction. And they see, well, nobody else is satisfied either. So I feel a little relief. I'm normal. I'm miserable, but I'm normal. And that's the material world. It's a miserable place, full of old age, disease, and death. Trouble from other living entities, trouble from our own mind and body, trouble from the nature, too hot, too cold. I'm from Florida, so it's too cold for me here. What is it? I thought California was warm, Southern California. I was in San Diego was cold too, near the ocean. Anyway, the trouble is there. But therefore, we want to get out of this world. Of course, we don't want to go and leave everybody else go to hell. So following in Prabhupada's footsteps, he was in Vrindavan, he was 70 years old, 69, and he was surrounded by sadhus, and he was staying at the temple, living in the Radha Damodar temple. Why he came all the way to the west? With trouble, seasickness, heart attack, on the boat, so much trouble, because he had compassion. He knew he had knowledge that could deliver people, could bring them out of this cycle of birth and death. So he was feeling obliged. Of course, his spiritual master was encouraging him, sometimes coming to him in a dream. He was getting communication from the Goswamis to finish his Bhagavatam and so on. So Prabhupada is not an ordinary person. He's specially empowered. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, my Senipati, my great general, will come and spread this movement all over the world. Srila Prabhupada ki. So therefore, again, we want to glorify Prabhupada first. That's this mistake was made in some quarters, here also. With your Romeshwar and in California, the Hansaduta. They fell down because they didn't keep Prabhupada in the center. They thought they were the same level as Prabhupada. Guru is one. I heard one of the gurus say that. Guru is one. I didn't ask to become guru. So, but everybody knows Guru is perfect, therefore I'm perfect. And then within a year or so, he was having illicit sex with his own disciples. He was going to commit suicide. Then, of course, he left sannyasa. Now he's no longer on the planet. But this happened because they didn't keep Prabhupada in the center. That's what is pleasing to Krishna. So we can do that. Keep Prabhupada in the center. His murti is here. His books are here. His, especially here. I can remember very clearly Prabhupada walking into this room, paying dandavats, 1, 2, 3, full dandavats, right in this room. I feel Prabhupada's presence. And in his room in the back, we used to sit with him and he would tell us stories. And so this is a sacred place. Prabhupada spent so much time here. This was his world headquarters for a long time. You're very fortunate, especially you have a wonderful leader like Srivas. Very strict, right? So you're all fortunate. Take advantage of this good fortune. Okay, one more. Engage. So when he told him this, then Hiranyakashipu became very angry. He threw Prahlad from his lap, since Prahlad was so treacherous that he had become a devotee of Vishnu who had killed his uncle, Hiranyaksha. Hiranyakashipu asked his assistants to kill him. He told his assistant to kill the boy. The assistant of Hiranyakashipu struck Prahlad with sharp weapons, threw him under the feet of elephants, subjected him to hellish conditions, threw him from the peak of a mountain, and tried to kill him in thousands of ways, but they were unsuccessful. Hiranyakashipu therefore became increasingly afraid of his son Prahlad and arrested him. The son of Hiranyakashipu's spiritual master, Sukracharya, began teaching Prahlad in their way, but Prahlad did not accept their instructions. While the teachers were absent from the classroom, Prahlad Maharaj began to preach Krishna consciousness in the school, and by his instructions, all his class friends, the sons of the demons, became devotees like him. You can't keep a good man down. So of course, we can't imitate Prahlad, but we can appreciate, because Krishna said very clearly that he protects his devotee. Kunteyai pratyajanani name bhakti pranashiti. My devotee can't be vanquished. So that applies to us too. Of course, in this age, that although that's still going on, right, in the name of religion, they're killing people. But I think the Hare Krishnas have a better reputation. Although I noticed you have a gate here, right? Oh, now it's in San Diego. Okay, anyway, let me just read in one quick verse of Prahlad speaking. Prahlad uvacha, tad sadhu manye suravarya dehinam sada samudvigna diyam sadgahat hidvama patam grihat andakupam vanam gato yad dharim ashreyate. Translation. Prahlad Maharaj said, O best of the Asuras, king of the demons, As far as I have learned from my spiritual master, any person who has accepted a temporary body and temporary household life is certainly embarrassed by anxiety because of having fallen in a dark well where there is no water but only suffering. One should give up this position and go to the forest. More clearly, one should go to Vrindavan, where only Krishna consciousness is prevalent, and should thus take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. Hiranyakashipu thought that Prahlad, being nothing but a small boy, had no actual experience, might reply with something pleasing, but nothing practical. Prahlad Maharaj, however, being an exalted devotee, had acquired all the qualities of education. Then the qualities of education are mentioned. One who has unflinching devotional faith in Krishna consistently manifests all the good qualities of Krishna and the demigods. However, he who has no devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead has no good qualifications because he is engaged by mental concoctions in material existence, which is the external feature of the Lord. This is from Bhagavatam 5:18-12. So-called educated philosophers and scientists who are simply on the mental platform cannot distinguish between what is actually real, eternal, and what is temporary, or asat. Sat and asat. The Vedic injunction is asato mai jatur gama. Everyone should give up the platform of temporary existence and approach the eternal platform. The soul is eternal, and topics concerning this eternal soul are actual knowledge. Elsewhere it is stated, those who are attached to the bodily conception of life and who thus stick to the life as grihastha or householder on the platform of material sense enjoyment cannot see the welfare of the eternal soul. So we see that's the fact. People stay in life up until death and have the comfort of the family holding their hand as they go into death. But that means they're going to get another family. If they're too attached to this family, you may get another family completely different. Most likely it will be different. The example is given, straws come together in the river, and then by the current they separate. Or another example is, we're on a highway, we stop at the rest stop, we have something to eat, we're sitting next to somebody, they're also eating, then they get back in their car, they go their way, we go our way. The same thing at death. You're not going to have the same family. You're going to be in a different family. The same difficulty. You'll get attached, and then because your attachment is there, attachment is like a desire, so then Krishna will fulfill your desire. Okay? You want another wife? Then here, take this body. You can have another. But that depends on your karma. You may have a dog for a wife. If you act like a dog in this life, you may become a dog in your next life, and you'll say, oh, I love my female dog so much. This is going on. Animals also have affection for their children. How are we different from animals? Animals are eating, sleeping, mating, defending. The real difference is we can inquire, who am I? Why am I suffering? Why is there death? I don't want death. Why is it coming, whether I like it or not? That's a good question. When Sanat Goswami, he left his post, he was the prime minister of the country. The king was a Muslim, and he liked to go over and expand his kingdom. So he left Sanat in charge of the country, and he tried to make bigger country by. But Sanat Goswami left that. He saw that I'm serving a cruel master, so he came to Lord Chaitanya. He had met Lord Chaitanya, and when he came in to Lord Chaitanya, he was dressed like a Muslim. He was sitting outside, and Lord Chaitanya called his servant. He said, there's a great devotee is out in the courtyard. Bring him in. So he went out and he looked. He just saw this Muslim. He came in. No, there's nobody there. No. Who is there? Just one Muslim fakir, they call him. He had a beard. And so bring him in. So it was Sanat Goswami who was dressed like that when he was traveling. So then Lord Chaitanya embraced him. Everybody was surprised. He's embracing this guy. So then he sat him down and he said, what is your purpose of coming? And Sanatan said, yes, I have a question. Why do I suffer? And what's the second part? Why must I die? Right? Yeah. So that was the two questions. So those are good questions. Well, who am I? That was it. Who am I and why do I suffer? That was the question. Who am I and why am I suffering? So Lord Chaitanya spoke. Then he said, yes, you're the servant of the servant of the servant of the gopis in Vrindavan. That's your constitutional position. And you're suffering because you've forgotten that. So we can all remember, just like Srila Prabhupada, he remembered his position. When I glorified him so much that he didn't like it, I was flattering him, he said, no, I am simply humble servant. And when he spoke that, it was right from his heart. He was always thinking he's a humble servant because he was remembering his spiritual master and Krishna. And in that relationship, he was a humble servant. So he was genuinely humble. Not artificially. He was genuinely humble because he was always remembering his spiritual master and Krishna. This is the process. We're trying to do that. I think I could use a little water. So, it's not so difficult. Especially for me, now it's getting easier that I realize Prabhupada really saved me because I have nothing, but I'm happy. So how is it that I'm happy? People my age are not happy. Why am I happy? Then it comes to Prabhupada. I have something to do. You know, I have this chanting. Everywhere I go, people ask me to lead kirtan, give class. So my life is full. Like I mentioned, I go to festivals, and here also people let me speak and chant. And so I feel useful. I feel that I'm satisfied in myself with the work I'm doing. And the future just gets brighter and brighter. I'm accepting disciples, but I don't think, these are my disciples. In a sense, of course, I have to take responsibility, but I understand that Prabhupada is the Acharya. We read in the Nectar of Devotion, chapter 5, Prabhupada mentions, Rupa Goswami mentions, that the difference between the regular spiritual master and the Acharya. So I don't never, excuse me, I don't ever I think of myself on the same level as Prabhupada. He was empowered representative. Therefore, keeping him in the center is natural and happy for everyone. So I don't want to make the mistake that my disciples have to think that I'm on the same level as Prabhupada. He was nirapeksha, means without any, even in a dream he didn't see any propensity for sin. The propensity for sin was completely eradicated. So I don't claim to be at that level. But I am, you can say, at a level where I can appreciate someone who is at that level, and I can invite everybody, please connect with him. Everybody can be Shiksha Guru to Srila Prabhupada. Read his books, follow his instructions. What is the difficulty? So we want to keep Prabhupada in the center. That way, this movement will go on for 10,000 years. I was in the car right here in Los Angeles. We were coming from the morning walk on the Palisades there. Where is that? Venice Beach, high up. We were above the water, right? The water was out, and we were walking. And so we were coming back from the morning walk. The three sannyasis, Prabhupada was in the front and the driver. So we came back a different way. The devotees were on the street here, right outside here, and they were looking for us, but they thought we were coming from this direction. I forget where. But anyway, we came another direction. They didn't see us. So when Prabhupada saw them on the street, the children had the bead bags and the dhoti, and the people were there waiting for Prabhupada to come. But we came from the back. And so when Prabhupada saw that, he felt inspired. And he spoke with 100% conviction. They cannot check this movement, he said. They cannot check this movement. This movement is going on for 10,000 years. Right on the street, I was in the car, Prabhupada spoke like that. So we keep connected to Prabhupada's movement, and our future is very bright. We may not all go back to Godhead immediately, one life, but we're on the path. And there's no reason why we can't. Prabhupada is offering. He told his disciples, if you're chanting 16 rounds, following 4 regular principles strictly, I'll personally come to take you back. Prabhupada said like that. So that goes for all his grand disciples also. Okay, I'll stop. We have a couple of minutes, I think. 5 minutes I have? Or do we stop now? Any question? I can tell another story of Prabhupada. You like a story where he chastised me or glorified me? He chastised me a lot. Because I was pushy. I was older, I was 26, and I thought, my first impression, why are they worshiping a man? I saw that picture. My mother taught me not to worship a human being, only worship God. Why are they worshiping this man? Human being. Prabhupada was a human being. So, like that, I came, and I was skeptical. Like the devotees were saying, Bhagavad Gita, this is the absolute truth, and everything is here, Krishna is speaking, Krishna is God, just read Bhagavad Gita. I thought, this is a little too much. It reminded me of the Christians a little bit. Okay, ladies. Reminded me of the Christians who were saying, we have the only way. So I went to the library, and I got 4 different editions of Bhagavad Gita. Ramakrishna mission, this mission, and I did a comparative study, and I saw that Bhagavad Gita is saying very clearly that Krishna is God, the Supreme Person. Nothing is greater than Him or equal to Him. Right? 10:8, what is that? Aham Sarvasya Prabhu. He's the source of everything material and spiritual. This is what Krishna is saying. So either you throw out the Gita, that he's a foolish egotist, or you accept it as it is. But so many Hindu Shmindus, they have this idea that any God you can worship, Yatuma, Jatupad, doesn't matter. No. If you worship Krishna, you go to Krishna. If you worship demigods, you go to the demigods. You worship the ancestors, you go to the ancestors. It's reasonable, right? If you buy a ticket to New York, you go to New York. You don't go to Phoenix or something. So it's simple. Simple for the simple. So the story was, yeah, we came up in a car. Okay? How much time I have? They told me till 6:30. So I have 4 minutes still? 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Okay. 3 minutes, I'll tell another quick story. I was attached to my service. When I came to London, Prabhupada sent me there. I was given the service of massaging Srila Prabhupada every day. And that went on for 3 months. So every day I had Prabhupada's association, 45 minutes or so, I was massaging Prabhupada. And he liked strong massage. I was giving him all my energy. And I felt purified by that. So when he was due to leave, I had been asking him, when you go, Prabhupada, back to Boston, can I come with you? And Prabhupada said, let us see, whatever Krishna wants. He was non-committal. But then a few days before he was leaving, maybe 5, 6 days, his servant came to me, he said, stop bothering Prabhupada about going to America, because another devotee, Upendra, is going to be giving massage to Prabhupada when he comes to America. And Prabhupada is given permission. So I thought it was probably true, but then later I was driving Prabhupada in the car, just the two of us, and I said, Srila Prabhupada, Purushottam said, that's his servant, that Upendra is going to be giving you massage when you come to America. So Prabhupada knew I wanted to do that service. So he responded by being absolutely silent. Just the two of us, and I spoke very clearly. But he responded with silence. So then I thought, it must be true. You know, he doesn't want to. So the silence went on for a minute. I resigned myself to the fact that I wasn't going. In fact, it's not the end of the world. I'll have service here and like that. And but still the silence was there. So I wanted to break the silence. And at the same time, let Srila Prabhupada know that I was resigned to staying there, not going with him. So he wouldn't feel bad about it. So I said, Upendra's going to give you massage, Prabhupada. I never met Upendra. Is he a good boy? And Prabhupada turned to me in the car. In a very warm voice, he said, not as nice as you. It went right into my heart. I thought, Prabhupada loves me. And he did. He loved us. He really did. He was an ever well-wisher. Every letter he wrote, you're ever well-wisher. He loved everybody. So take advantage of Prabhupada's love. He loves you too. Become his follower. You can't become his Diksha Guru disciple. Srila Prabhupada ki.